Hello everyone and welcome to the final round of the Porsche Flat 6 Super Cup, and it is a title deciding round today from Virginia International Raceway. We've been all over America this season, from Sebring to Daytona, Watkins Glen, Road America, Road Atlanta, Lime Rock Park, Mid-Ohio, and now Virginia International Raceway in Virginia. And as you can see, the Drivers' Championship is incredibly close. We have two drivers at the top of the order separated by 1 point. Thomas Wach and Tiziano Urbanati separated by just 1 point and both vying for the lead of the championship and the to be crowned champion. In third place and fourth place are Vidimari and Abreu. That's Daniele Vidimari and Nuno Miguel Abreu. Both of those drivers are also in contention for the title. So we have 4 drivers here in contention for the title. And really close round. I've looked at the timesheets as well going into this round. And all of those 4 drivers are right up the top and very close in terms of time. So this could be a very interesting one. Following them in the championship and also to keep an eye out is Michal Nizio. He might well be in contention for the title if he hadn't missed a round earlier this championship due to falling asleep, interestingly. Steve Serpent is 6th, followed by Mark Robinson, Samuel Riveda and Lucas Kraksuk. A lot of those drivers, like Serpent, for example, highly benefited by making every round here. And then following them is Marek Cieslak to round out the top 10. In the Teams Championship, we have the RSI Kapasik team at the top of the order. Or is Capiche? I never entirely know how to pronounce that. But as you can see, you have 2 points, just 2 points separating the RSI team from the Marabia Rebellion team in second. Rebellion, of course, consisting of Nuno Miguel Abreu and Jorge Alves. Following them, Black Serpent, and then it's Crypta, CFEG Racing, Scuderia Shell, Eidos Motorsport, Marabia ST0, Caspian Motorsport 1 and HT Motorsport to round out the top 10. And now that's over, we can get on with the actual session. We are in qualifying now, and let's watch Tiziano Urbanati, one of our championship contenders, as he flies around the track for the first time. He is on a hot lap here. I believe so anyway. We have a 30-minute qualifying session here, and this is the first of them as he locks up. Through the double apex right-handed hairpin at the top of the hill and towards an extremely long straight, one of the longest straights in motorsport. You can tell one of the defining features of the Virginia International Raceway circuit is that there is a lot of grass runoff. The grass just stretches for miles, and in some places it just keeps going, and it doesn't even stop with a barrier. So definitely a lot of room for cars to sort of slither off if something does go wrong, and that means hopefully we will get plenty of drivers finishing the race. But a lot of drivers I've heard so far sort of wish that they didn't. Sort of wish that they wouldn't have to finish the lap, because this is a very challenging one, and it seems that not a lot of the drivers are very thrilled to actually be racing here. But I like the way we're ending the season on a challenge, because well, it's a great place for a title decider, and when you have a track that is blatantly difficult to get right when you're pushing, like you see Urbanati doing there, I think actually he was just bailing out of that, then that can be a very exciting recipe indeed. Let's ride on board with Thomas Wach as he shows us now the final sector of the course. This is one of the defining features of the course here. This blind chicane heading downhill. Very difficult to get right, especially as you head over a crest in the braking zone. And when you do that, often the rear of the car can get very light, and sometimes it'll just loop around on you with no warning. Now I believe this is an outlap actually, because as you can see, the sector 1 time never ticked to a close. So I believe that he's going on to a lap now, is Thomas Wach. And so far it's Urbanati leading the session, as you can see on the scroller at the top of the screen, followed by Vidimari, Folito, Robinson, Serpent and Gill but still, Gil not yet to set a representative lap, and neither or no one else behind him has either. This is going to be Woff's very first lap here. We have 11 drivers in this session. We might get some more before the race here, but let's see how this qualifying session goes anyway. Under the Coca-Cola sign goes Thomas Woff, and now up the hill. Couple of S's before we're going to reach a double apex right hand hairpin. Whoa, bit of a slide there from Woff mid S's. And here comes the hairpin. You can see it really does give a theme of excitement, doesn't it? This course is very sort of it's very sort of roller coastery, and you can see where you're going in the distance. And I think that brings a great deal of excitement to the track, because you can see where you're going. And there's not really many barriers in the way or anything like that. And it's just sort of, it's very, very adventurous, I'd say, if that makes sense. But I get that especially in the first half of the course when you're heading up the hill. Ooh, bit of a slide there from Woff. It's all about the S's, this course is. When I say the S's here, I don't necessarily mean one part of the course, because the S's could basically mean the entire circuit. And when you have a track that's this weavy, this left and right, it can often mean that overtaking's difficult, but that just builds up tension, and it means that it inspires good battles and good chases and good driving. Anyway, on that lap, Thomas Woff did go fastest, but that was before Nuno Miguel Abreu crossed the line. So Abreu now goes to the top of the order, cements his position. And how much was that by? It was a 147.703, as we see at the top of the order. That's by 3/10 over Thomas Woff. And then it's Urbanati, Vidamari, Gil, Felito, and Robinson. And then Serpent. And those are the drivers who have set a lap so far. Still yet to set a lap, Raveda, Nizio, and Blackmore. Let's go and see if oh my word! Well, I did briefly switch to Nuno Miguel Abreu's car. It appears he's had a big crash. Now, if I can go back in the replay and see how that happened. What has happened here? So Abreu just gets a big swap on as he goes through the S's, bang into the barrier, wheel gone, and he's stopped in the middle of the road there. That's a bad one. But anyway, I'm just going to see how these guys are going, the drivers who haven't set laps yet, and see what their initial pace is. This is Jorge Alves, the teammate of Nuno Miguel Abreu in the Marabia Rebellion team, going for the team's championship, just 2 points behind RSI Capiche. And RSI Capiche, of course, severely hampered there by the fact that Vidimari missed several rounds, but Vidimari is back today. I mean, Felito. Do I mean... Oh, dear, as Alves went off. Now, I was a bit confused when I looked earlier, because I thought... Well, I'm looking at the order now. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, well, there's actually an error on the championship table I'm looking at, where Vidimari is separated. Okay, so right. So what's happened there? It's kind of separated two Vidimaris who are consecutively running 8th and 6th in the championship at the same time, which is interesting. But anyway, I can tell you that Vidimari is well, he's second. Is he second? I think he's second in the championship. I can very briefly go back to the championship screen. This is just to remind myself more than anything, because the championship screen I had was wrong. Okay, so it looks as if it is Woff leading from Urbanati and Vidimari. And yeah, what I was saying was that Alessio Felito didn't make several rounds for that RSI Capiche team, which hampered their chances of doing greatly in the championship, because of course they didn't have two drivers racing. But still, they are leading it, so that's a good performance from that team. Now, Jorge Alves, it says Spirit Sim Racing down there. That's not his true team here, because he is for Marabia Rebellion, and I don't know why it says Spirit Sim Racing, but anyway, Alves set a personal best in the first sector. Let's see what his second and third sectors are like. There was actually a brief yellow in the second sector there, which is the sector that Alves is in at the moment, so hopefully Alves didn't get distracted by that yellow. But anyway, oh, he's losing it at the top of the hill. Big swap. Oh no! Well, he held the first one and then had another big kick on the exit and spins it over the grass. Looks as if he's going to complete the lap anyway, but it's certainly not going to be a quick one. What about... Well, Riveda hasn't been out yet, so he won't be setting any quick ones yet. Urbanati is on a lap, possibly. We're over 10 minutes into the session now, and still it's Abreu leading from Urbanati, Vidimari, Gill, Filetta, Robinson, Serpent and Blackmore, and then Riveda and Alves still yet to set laps. Of course, you'll notice that Steve Serpent's name is only Steve in the game. It doesn't come up with his surname as well. It's just Steve when it should be Steve Serpent, and I don't know why that's the case, but it has been for the entire series, so I've just got used to it by now. There's Alves gearing up for another lap. Should probably have put the power down already because he needs to be going on to one now. Urbanati crosses the line there. That's not a quicker lap for him, I think. And now Alves... Actually, that lap from Alves did count, interestingly. He's put himself ahead of Samuel Riveda, but of course that was such a slow lap due to having a spin and then backing off as well that well, he's going to be about half a minute down, I think, on Lee Blackmore ahead of him, but he's going out to give it another shot, I think. What about Tiziano Urbanati? We just saw him going on to another lap, of course. He set his personal best in the first sector, 2/10 up on his previous one. So this could be a lap to look out for, really, from Tiziano Urbanati. Whoa! What? That's... Well, I think that just came out on the broadcast. The server or something lagged, and Urbanati was sent, on my screen at least, shooting off into space like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But that of course was not realistic, and that didn't actually happen. What actually happened was that the server froze, and then Newton's laws of physics said that, seeing as the server wasn't registering any other forces or inputs, the car should just keep going over the crest and straight off into space. But Urbanati is back down to Earth now, and he won't have seen anything like that on his screen. Everything would have been completely fine. Actually, he's given up on that lap now. But yeah, that was just rather funny there, seeing Urbanati taking flight. But anyway, ooh, big slide from Worth. This might be a ruined first sector, which is a shame. Ooh, another one. Oh dear, big swap. He's going into the wall, and he's given up. So yeah, quite understandably that. This is going to be a quick lap from Abreu if he can keep it going. He was 3/10 up on his own best in the first sector, and now as he exits the second sector, he can see his teammate on the right-hand side of the track. And this might actually be a bit of strategic placement on the track from the Rebellion team. And if they're in a call together, Abreu might well be asking Alves to give him a bit of a slipstream down this straight here. Although Alves pulls over and gets out of the way before we go into the chicane, the blind chicane. And it's a very quick second sector as well. It's 3/10 up in both sectors. He's now 6/10 up on his lap as he's heading into the final sector. He's already on pole, but he's about to smash his own lap. This is going to be a 1:47 dead, I think. Let's see what it is. He's going to cross the line now. It's a 1:47.5, so he actually lost quite a bit in the third sector, but it's still a new fastest in the session so far. And it's a 1:47.542, which puts him at the top of the order. What about Urbanati? Has he just come out to the pits? Yes, he has. Well, Vidimari's had an off. He's been 9.3 seconds down. Bruno Gill is going up on his lap, but he just had a big slide in the third sector there. I saw him steering the wrong direction for a corner as I switched the camera to him there. But let's see if he built up enough of a gap in the first few sectors. I don't know if he did, because he was only 0.04 of a second up, almost 0.05 of a second up. And indeed, he's down on that lap. Now, has everyone actually set a lap? Alves still hasn't set a a representative lap. He's 21.8 seconds down on the leader, but he is on a lap now. It wasn't a great first sector, and he's actually just put 2 wheels into the grass in the second sector too. This is where he spun it on his lap, and he gets very, very squirrely under the brakes, but at least doesn't spin it this time, and there's Abreu up ahead of him. It looks as if they are possibly doing some strategic placement on the straights from the Marabia Rebellion team. Although I think actually that's not what they're doing, because Abreu is too far ahead. And now you can see that Alves is registered as being 9.6 seconds up on his own lap in the second sector, and that's simply because he didn't have a spin on that. So let's see what he can do in the third sector here. Whoa, dear! He's missed his braking and gone skittering off into the grass at the final corner. Slams on the brakes and slides to a halt. And this, unfortunately, even if it is a quicker lap from him, is still going to be several seconds off what it should be, and Alves needs to go again. He's really not getting the hang of this track, but hopefully he does before the end of the session. It was still 5.9 seconds up on his previous lap, because he didn't at least give way for anyone that time around, but still, that's not what he wants to be happening there. Now, amazing to see Harry Graham and Tom Davison in this, because those two are, of course, racing as drivers in the GPVWC Formula Challenge this year for Downforce Racing. And I didn't know that, well, I knew that Tom Davison raced here, of course, from previous experience, but I didn't know that he'd introduced Harry Graham to this series. And Graham's just left the server, actually. So that it would be amazing to see Harry Graham in this. And I hope that he makes his way back in, because I want to see that happening. But anyway, I knew yeah, okay, well, we'll see what happens for the remainder of this session. Of course, Tom Davison finished second at one of the rounds in Road Atlanta earlier this season, so he's no stranger to these cars and is really quite quick in them. And I've actually just found Harry Graham on the championship standings at Road Atlanta, so I have commentated on him before in this series. I just forgot that he'd done it. But yeah, Harry Graham took a brief look into the server. Anyway, back to the session. We've got Samuel Reveda, who's gone up on his best in both the first and second sectors, which isn't surprising, seeing as I don't think he'd set a lap yet. So let's see what his first lap is like as he crosses the line. Where does this put him? It puts him 9th, so it moves him ahead of Lee Blackmore. And now Jorge Alves moves ahead of Steve Serpent in the order. Still, we're yet to see Tom Davison set a lap. Is he on one now, or is this an out lap? Well, whatever, he's just spun it anyway. So, unfortunately, this isn't going to be a lap from Tom Davison. Needs to get going before he gets in the way of Alessio Folletto there. Good to see Folletto back. Folletto's been missing a couple of rounds, but he's back in this one. Thomas Wach up in the first sector. This could be a shot at pole here. So let's see what Wach does on this lap. As Vidamari has now moved up into... I mean, I knew that. I just swapped through them. Never mind. Vidamari up into second. And Thomas Wach is still a 10th up on his best in the second sector there. Let's see what this third sector's like. It's all down to this. Gets a bit of a swap. Bit of a correction as he went through the downhill S's. One of the downhill S's on this track anyway. What's this lap going to be? Oh, it's down. It's not even his best. And he's teleported back to the pit, but of course that doesn't mean it's the end of the session. That just means he's possibly going to go for another run. That's a crash for Alessio Folletto. How's that happened? Oh, I think this might be deliberate, actually, because he's just sort of run straight on. Yeah, that looks as if he was trying to give up in a funny fashion or whatever, but if I just go forward to real time, there we go. Mike Robinson 8/10 down on his best. Jorge Alves in the first sector here. Is this an out lap or a real lap? Well, oh dear, he's going off. So Alves again still not being able to set a properly representative lap time. Possibly just really struggling with this track so far. That certainly looks to be the case. But he's still lapping, and this, I think, will be his best lap anyway, so long as he can keep it clean. Oh no, he has set a lap. Look, it's 2.5 seconds down on the leader, but that's better than the something like 15.5 seconds down he was before. Slide from Steve Serpent. There's a lot of slides from pretty much everyone involved in the session, all over the place now, because it is a very, very difficult course, as everyone was saying to me just now. And it really, really tests the skill of the drivers. Bruno Gill's on a quick one. Look at that. 1.1 up in the first sector. And he's, well, don't be fooled by the fact that he's identically liveried to Nuno Miglabreu behind. They're not technically for the same team. There are sort of two Rebellion teams. There is Marabia Rebellion and the other one. And I'll just remind myself of what that team is known as. But of course, Jorge Alves technically Bruno Gil rather, technically separate from the Marabia Rebellion team. He races for Marabia ST0, so it is still a Marabia team, but it is a different Marabia team. As Gil sets, well, he's put in the lap and he's got closer to 4th place, but still doesn't quite get it there. 4th being Tiziano Urbanati, and it's great to see. Look at who the top 4 in this session are. They are our championship contenders. It's going to be great to see them up the front of the order, fighting for the championship amongst each other, which will be very interesting. And I can't wait to see how that turns out. But I'm sure it's going to be a cracking battle, four-way for the lead, and I want to see how that pays out. So Jorge Alves, can he put in a quicker lap this time around? He's in the first sector. Where does the first sector ends there, and he's 6/10 down. So I'm going to switch away from that. That lap was not going to be an improvement. Tom Davison is not registered as being on a lap now. I think that probably means he's cut the track somewhere. It can't mean he's on an outlap, because if he's on an outlap, it tends to mean that the server just gives you a ridiculous sector 1 time. Harry Graham is back, so hopefully he can make his way out onto the track soon. That will be good to see. And Vidamari has just started a new lap, so I'm going to stick with Vidamari here to see how this lap goes, because Vidamari, of course, is second. No, he went to the top with that lap, so Vidamari has gone to the top, and Urbanati now has passed work as well. So Vidamari set pole with that lap, and it's a 1:47.1, and now he's on another lap. Can he go even quicker? But whatever this lap is, he's already on provisional pole, and that's a quick lap from Daniele Vidamari, 0.403 ahead of Nuno Miguel Abreu, who is his closest competitor. Abreu, many people say, is the quickest driver in this Porsche Flat 6 series, and might well be leading the championship now if he hadn't missed a round. But of course, because he did miss a round, he is behind in the championship, and that means he's going to have to try extra hard if he's going to win it. He's currently 4th place in the championship, and needs to score more points than Wuch and Urbanati to stay in with a theoretical chance of winning the championship here. Of course, Thomas Wuch can win the championship here, and I must say, qualifying does score a point. So, if well, it also means that I'm just trying to figure something out. I think it means that Tiziano Urbanati can win the championship in this first race as well. Let's see what it. No, because. Oh, actually, yes, because Vidamari has more wins than Wuch. Wuch actually hasn't won any yet. He's only leading the championship because of his many second places and his superior consistency. But Urbanati, who is second, I didn't mean Vidamari when I said it a few minutes ago. Urbanati has already won a race. So that means if Urbanati wins this race and gets pole, and yeah, if that happens, then providing neither of them set fastest lap or Vidamari sets fastest lap, then Vidamari is champion, because fastest lap over the 2 races is also a point. So we will never be able to crown someone champion after this first race, unless it's Thomas Wach, who will win it by winning this race and setting fastest lap, or winning this race and setting pole and fastest lap. But we can't give them the point for fastest lap unless no, we can't, not after this first race. So that adds a bit of confusion into this championship. I hope that made sense. It means that someone could claim the championship in race 1 with that fastest lap, but we don't entirely know if they've done it or not, because it's all down to whether someone sets a quicker lap in race 2. But anyway, really, Wach and Urbanati can make it almost mathematically impossible for anyone else to take them in this race here. And if there weren't points for pole or fastest lap, then Wach could claim it. Back to the session. I'm going to stop waffling briefly and watch what's actually happening. Alessio Folletto is on a lap. He's currently running in 8th position behind Samuel Reveda and ahead of Jorge Alves. We have less than 3.5 minutes remaining in this session now, so really not much time left to improve, and it's a quicker first sector for Alessio Folletto, so he's going up. We'll see what he can do here. We've lost someone from the server. There's only 12 drivers now when there were 13. And he's back. It was Lee Blackmore, so Blackmore is back. Blackmore is back for more. What? Oh, and Folletto's run slightly off on this lap, so I don't think this is going to be faster. I'm just going to see what this second sector time is, because he did keep his foot in, so it'll be interesting to see what his second sector time is. It's well, it was a quick first sector time, but I'm really not sure about this second sector so far, as he put all 4 wheels on the grass. Shouldn't be a track limits issue, seeing as you would have lost a lot of momentum through that, but it'll certainly, well, lose you a lot of momentum, as I said. And someone's bumper has been left behind, and that's one of the Marabia cars. I'm trying to remember which car has a green bumper. I think it's Bruno Gill, so I think Gill's been off there and left his bumper behind. I did hear a crunch sound effect just now. And interestingly, Folletto's second sector time doesn't appear to have registered. But he's put in the lap anyway, and that's not been a quicker one. But whatever the case, I'm going to go through and watch some of the top guys now. There's really not much chance left for these guys to go any quicker. Abreu and Vidamari are going out onto the track for one final run here. And they'll need to make a flawless outlap, actually, otherwise they're not going to be able to set another lap. Wach is also on an outlap, as is Urbanati. So these top 4 drivers all on outlaps here. What about Bruno Gill? He's on an actual lap at the moment and went down in the first sector, but of course can still make an improvement on his lap. He wasn't far down, it was only a 10th. As we prepare for the first 4 guys to do battle on one final timed run. This is going to be cracking. It is up for Bruno Gill now, and once he's set this lap, I'm going to go through and watch the top guys' laps. If Gill can get between these top 4 guys, that will be a major upset in terms of the order in the championship, and it would be very interesting to see. But of course, he's 5th at the moment. Let's see what this lap is. Well, it was an improvement by about 8/10, but it didn't put him up the order. Now let's watch the top guys. Urbanati is going up. Is he the... Yeah, he's the furthest ahead of these 4 top guys. So let's watch Urbanati's lap. This is going to be his final chance at setting pole position. He's in 4th position at the moment, but he's going a 10th up on his lap so far. I'd like to see what his lap is. Also, Harry Graham possibly has decided not to take part in this race because he has left again. Tom Davison has put in a lap at 6.5 seconds off the leaders for now. But Urbanati 3/10 up in the second sector. This is certainly one to watch. Bit of a slide on the downhill S. I think everyone's been doing that. And well, it's just proclaimed Daniele Vidamari as the winner, which is interesting. But these drivers can still put in fast laps. Get off the screen, you silly winner thing! You're wrong. And let's see what Urbanati's lap is. It's third. He moves ahead of Wach, but Wach is going quicker. What about these top two guys? Well, Vidamari. What's happened? Oh, I moved down. Oh no. Well, never mind. Urbanati set a lap. Wach is going up. And Vidamari and Abreu are both in the pits, so Wach is the only guy who can really take the fight to them now. He is going up, but I don't think by enough. I think it's going to be Vidamari on pole here. Thomas Wach rounding the final corner and heading onto the final straight. It's all down to the gear changes now. Don't miss a gear. And he's going to cross the line now. What is it? It's second. He moves ahead of Abreu. But pole position goes to Daniele Vidamari heading into this final round. So Vidamari has pole. He's third in the championship. Wach is second. He's first in the championship. Third is Abreu. He is fourth in the championship. And fourth is Urbanati. He is second in the championship. So that is how our title deciders line up for this round. And then it's Bruno Gil, Alessio Folletto, Samuel Riveda, Mark Robinson, Steve Serpent, Jorge Alves, who is still on a lap, interestingly, but loses it. So Alves will not be going up on this lap. Possibly still had a chance until that happened. And he parks it in the grass. Then it's Lee Blackmore, Tom Davison, and Harry Graham, who has made it in and might well be starting the race, but didn't set a qualifying time. So, the championship leaders, the top four in the championship, are the top four on the track, and that's great to see. And I can't wait to see how this race goes. We're going to take a brief break now and be right back for the start of this race, which is sure to be a thrilling one. Okay, we're back, and the drivers are just coming to the end of their brief 5-minute warm-up session to just get used to the cars on race fuel. Of course, there isn't much more fuel in them now than there was in qualifying. Only 14 laps of this track, but still that comes to almost half an hour. Well, really only about 25 minutes, but still. And we've still got an action-packed 2 races to go. Now, these action-packed 2 races, of course, are going to decide the championship. And as a reminder, we have Thomas Wach leading it by 1 point from Tiziano Urbanati, and then it's Vidamari behind them. Only by 10 points now and not by 11 from Thomas Wach, because Vidamari claimed a point for pole position then. So Vidamari claiming all the points that he can, and that one was for pole position there. And then following him is Nuno Miguel Abreu. He is also in contention for the title here. Also, Cozy TV types, yes, I'm not racing FPS too low. Now, I think that Cozy TV is Michal Mizio, who I don't see on the entry list, but I'm not entirely sure. If you can confirm that, that would be good. It would be an explanation as to why we don't have a Michal Mizio here today, but there are a couple of others who it could be. But anyway, we are just heading away now on the formation lap for the race. And if I go to the front of the order, you can see that it's Daniele Vidamari leading us away. He will start the race in that number 23 car ahead of Thomas Wach, Nuno Miguel Abreu, Tiziano Urbanati, Bruno Gil, Alessio Folletto, Samuel Riveda. For some reason I keep going to call him Stefan. Then it's Mark Robinson. Whoa, Harry Graham. No, Tom Davison gets very sideways at the back. Then it's Steve Serpent, Jorge Alves, Lee Blackmore, Tom Davison, who I just saw. Oh no, it was Harry Graham I just saw having that big slide. And he appears to be ahead of Tom Davison for some reason. Also, in a weird order, I think that Abreu is behind Riveda. Folletto is behind Riveda when they should be the other way round. But we're not strict in that on the formation lap here. So anyway, we'll see how it is when they head to the grid. Of course, they do have designated boxes they have to line up in, so that means that no one is going to gain a position on this formation lap. This is simply the lap to get the cars around, get the tyres warmed up, see the track for one last time, and then we will be racing. So, if Thomas Wach wins this race, then if Thomas Wach wins this race and Urbanati does not score, then that means Urbanati needs to win the next race and score fastest lap to still be champion. But then you've got Vidamari and Abreu to factor in as well, because if they build up enough points, then they too can also snatch the championship away. And really, it's very difficult to explain the different scenarios that would cause a championship. I think I will give an update. I'll give an update every 3 or 4 laps as to who will still be who would win the championship, or who would be leading the championship rather, as we head into the second race of the weekend. But anyway, we've got the first one coming up. Let's get into this camera view so we can see when the light's going to come on. Here comes Harry Graham rather than Harry Davison, as I just said, because I've just mixed up the 2 drivers at the back of the order. But anyway, oops. Graham is going to line up in 13th position here at the back of the order, and then the lights can start coming on and we can get this race underway. Let's watch for the lights. When those go 8, we will get this race underway. Now, away we go. It's a quick start for... My word! Abreu slots himself straight in between the leaders. That looked almost like a jump start. I hope it wasn't. But I think Abreu is going to get the lead here down into turn 1. Does he? Yes, he does. Abreu leads this race. That's incredible. At the back of the order, Blackmore has a slow start, and Davison's off. But it's Abreu leading. Vidamari goes on the attack, and Bruno Gill's up to third. It's been a great start for the Marabia cars. Fourth is Thomas Wach. Fifth is Tiziano Urbanati. And this, oh dear, and off at the back in the background goes Harry Graham as well. Now, the big winner of this start, of course, has been Nuno Miguel Abreu, who has really gained, and Bruno Gill behind him. And these two are on course for the team's championship, I think, because Alessio Folletto is further down the order. I don't think that team's going to claim it this time round, but they're certainly going to get closer to their goal. Although Vidamari still chasing down Abreu, he gets over the grass slightly, as does Gill behind him, although to a lesser extent. And Vidamari will have the slipstream now on Abreu as we head down the back straight. Gill takes a slight swap. Oh, off in the background goes Riveda. Luckily, he has a lot of runoff there and can get going again. But that was very hairy, and Harry Graham's been off again, unfortunately. And, of course, both the drivers at the back of the order, Davison and Graham, are kart drivers in the Birla UK series, who are also racing this year in the GPVWC Formula Challenge Championship. So, exciting talents to look out for, but obviously having a poor start here in these Porsches, which is a shame. But anyway, still it's Abreu leading from Vidamari, Gill, Wach and Urbanati. And as we cross the start-finish line, let's see what the gap is between the leading two. It's 0.8 of a second, so still it's close. But Abreu, for a first lap, has built out a bit of a gap. Is everyone still running? I believe we are. There's yellows in the third sector as Lee Blackmore's had it off. He gets going safely though. And as I scroll through the order, you can see where each of the cars are on this opening lap, on this second lap rather, of the race after the opening lap. And still, it's Abreu leading from Vidamari. I'm going to go back quickly and have a look at that start from onboard Abreu and see just how good it was. Let's keep an eye on the lights. Now, when they go out, he needs to have... Oh, you saw the green flag moving. That is absolutely pinpoint accurate. Amazing start for Abreu. And he absolutely launched off the line. I can't believe what I just saw. That was not a jump start. That was absolutely perfect. He would have entirely interpreted that. That wouldn't have been a reaction. That would have been interpretation. And any earlier than that, it would have been a jump start. He is so lucky to have got away with that. But Abreu just lightning. He needed to take that risk. He's fourth in the championship, but still has a chance of winning it. If he wins the championship after that, it'll be the talking point of the year. Of course, he missed a round earlier on as well. So if he wins the championship, despite doing one race fewer than everyone else in a championship this short, that would be an unbelievable performance. But he's on course for a good result here. Although, of course, Wach and Urbanati, who are the top two guys in the championship, only fourth and fifth now. So this is a good race for the underdogs, Abreu and Vidamari. Of course, not underdogs in terms of the race, but in terms of the championship, they are. And they are really pushing for it now. With Abreu still leading from Vidamari. Looking through the back of the order, still a couple of guys having problems, but luckily everyone still running in this race. We've got yellows. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Abreu! Abreu's been off! Oh dear! I saw a Marabia Rebellion car off and I thought, who's that? And it was Nuno Miguel Abreu who's had it off. And that means Daniele Vidamari leads the race. Abreu is already attacking again, going for Alessio Folletto. He's down the inside as we head through the kink. And whatever happened there, that's dramatic in terms of... He's going off again! There's full contact! And Folletto also goes off. Does he avoid the barrier? No! He's going to hit it! Abreu hits the barrier. And this is his championship down the drain. If Vidamari... Well, if Wach and Urbanati finish ahead of him, Abreu is out of contention for the title. And unfortunately, that looks as if it's going to be exactly what happened after an absolutely lightning start. Now, I want to see exactly what happened to Abreu there. Let's skip ahead in the replay until I can find out what did happen there. Is he still leading? No, he's not leading at that. Oh, here we go. So Here's his opening instant. He's just going to... Oh, I see he's locked up the tyre as he brakes. He's going wide. He clips the grass. Round the car goes. Here's how Vidimari saw it. And that is the sight of the race lead being gifted to you. Now, what happened with Folletto as well? This is fast forward, of course. No cars go this fast. Oh, they did make contact as Folletto got over the grass. Now, I don't entirely see... Oof, that's a big hit for Folletto. Oh, dear. I don't entirely see where Abreu thought Folletto was going to go there. He was always going to go over the curb, and that's often... You often run the risk there of bouncing the car up. Look at the damage on Folletto's car. He's missing a wheel, I think. Is that the front right gone? Yes, it is. And this is on a new lap, so he's had another accident. Into the wall he goes again. And this will be race over for Alessio Folletto, surely. He's still trying to limp it back to the pits. He has had another accident since then, hasn't he? Oh, yeah, it's been down at the hairpin here. Oh, no, he was already missing a wheel. He wasn't yet here. Where did he lose that wheel? Was it in the incident with Abreu? Because otherwise, I think he's missed the pits, has he? Well, there's the incident. Has he got a wheel at this point? No, he hasn't. So he does just... Oh, now he's in the pits. Okay, maybe I'm just getting my points on the track mixed up. But anyway, Tom Davison having a big slide going past him. And Harry Graham still running. And now the order is Vidimari, Wach, Urbanati, Gill, Serpent, Alves, Robinson, Reveda, Abreu, Blackmore, Davison, Folletto in the pits, and Graham. And we are back to normal time. And what a dramatic start we've seen. And unfortunately, I think that is the end of the championship charge from Nuno Miguel Abreu. He will really have to fight his way back through now if he's going to still be in contention after this round. And I really don't think he's going to be. But we'll see what he can do. And now it's all down to... oh, do I hear crunch sound effects? I think there's been an accident. There's yellows in the second sector. Who's been... Oh, no! Tom Davison has shed body parts and he's been into that retaining wall, hasn't he? Now, how's this happened? He's just gonna get over the curb. He's gonna lose it on the exit. He's on the grass. There's no traction out there. He loses control. Tries to hold it, almost does, but goes into that retaining wall. And that is race over for Tom Davison, I'm afraid. Yeah, he's back in the pits now, and he is out. That would have killed the engine. And now Graham spun. So his teammate Graham, the other Group 2 car, is having a dreadful time as well. As we go back and replay, this is going to be a very similar incident to the one that happened to Abreu. He's just sort of gone wide, lost traction over the grass, and spun the car around. We're now back to real time, and he's out too. So unfortunately, well, Folletto is still technically going. He's in the pits at the moment. But unfortunately, Graham and Davison, the two Group 2 cars, are both out of this race. And those are our retirements in this race so far. Vidimari still going very, very well out the front of the order. He's just needing to keep it clean now. And the real battle I see getting closer now in the order is Robinson versus Reveda for 7th, and Abreu is catching them too. So Abreu needs to make his way past these if he wants to still be in contention for the title. But he needs Wach and Urbanati both to have problems or drop behind him, which is extremely unlikely at this point. Abreu just wants to go for it and see what he can do in the remainder of this race. Vidimari being ahead of him is also a problem, because that means that with Vidimari winning and Abreu only finishing, well, it looks as if he's going to gain 7th there. He does as Reveda runs off. I think that Vidimari will pretty much have 3rd in the championship sealed now. Oh, who's that? Who's that? Someone's been off. Are they a back marker or? Yes, it's Folletto. So Folletto, has he emerged from the pits and immediately spun? Let's see what's happened here. I think that's coming out. He's coming out to the pits. He's just gone straight on, and now he's spun it in the grass. What's happened to Folletto? That is bizarre. Something must still be damaged to do with that car. Well, whatever's happened, that's a really weird one. He's got going again. I might have to ask him about what happened there, because that was interesting. But whatever's happened to Folletto, he's got going. And, of course, the 2 cars ahead of him are DNF'd. So, needs to keep going in this race, and he'll gain 2 positions before long. He's already gained 1 on Harry Graham. And now Mark Robinson is under attack from Abreu, who actually puts all four wheels over the white line there. And I'm wondering whether that's going to be picked up by the stewards or by Robinson or by someone, because that looked to me like a slightly illegal overtake from Abreu. But then again, this is Porsche Cup racing, and they're not quite as sensitive to that as they are in single-seater racing. But still, I wouldn't say that's the cleanest of moves. But anyway, Abreu through into 6th for now, ahead of Robinson, and now Riveda, ducking and weaving in the slipstream of Robinson, goes to the outside as we head into the S's. Well, one of the S's, the downhill chicane, I'll call this bit. Slowing the cars right down as they need to. And now Steve Serpent's caught the back of this chain as well. Now, when did Serpent drop down? Because Serpent was running in 5th earlier in the race. Now he's in 9th, so Serpent's had an off or something somewhere. And it's now Jorge Alves running in 5th position. And, well, whatever's happened there, that's the current order. And you can see Abreu getting away. Also, Foletto has now... Oh, Serpent took a look on Riveda there. Foletto has now got past the stopped car of Tom Davison as well. We expected he would because, of course, Davison has retired. So both of the kart drivers out of this race. Riveda, ooh, Serpent put himself up the inside there, right where he wasn't welcome, but looks as if he's going to hold the inside. And, oh, big swap and around onto the grass. That was close, but Serpent went for one move, didn't get it, and ended up going over the grass. Oh, and Foletto's off too. Foletto into the wall again. And this is going to be a very similar situation to the one we've seen. This looks like a problematic corner as people are just leaving the braking too late or locking up or something like that. And they touch the grass and around they go. And there's a wall there to catch them. And now he's missing his front bumper. Well, he didn't lose his... Oh, he did lose his front bumper in the instant. Okay, I thought he'd lost that in a separate instant. But whatever the case, Foletto missing his front bumper now. As apparently... oh, Abreu. Abreu's lost another... What's that? Abreu! He's having a terrible race. He's now dropped to 9th. He's had a spin. What's happened here? It's all... He's done it all by himself. He's locked up again. Got onto the grass and around he goes. This is a terrible show from Nuno Miguel Abreu. It was from such a great start. He's looped the car around. And if the championship wasn't already over for him now, before, it really is now. And a terrible, terrible spin for Abreu has dropped him several positions, and now he has to do it all over again. He will be feeling so downhearted now to have chucked away a good position. Of course, he could have won the race if he hadn't spun it earlier on. And now he's picking up scraps. Ooh, Bruno Gill took a bit of a bit more handful of oversteer than he would have wanted, if that makes sense. A bit of a bigger handful of it. That's what I meant. Still, we've got 11 cars running in this race. Blackmore running wide. He's going over the curb a bit there. And Foletto still lapping without a front bumper. Of course, deciding it's not really worth pitting for it. And here we see Vidamari now catching his first bit of traffic. Lee Blackmore up ahead. Of course, he has already lapped Foletto, but that was in the pits. So Blackmore's going to be the first driver lapped on track here. And hopefully that can all be done quickly. Blackmore was joking after last race that he almost ended up in the pits when giving room to one of the quicker drivers last time out. And Vidamari does get past him without issues, so that's good to see. Blackmore now a lap down, but he's a long way behind the car ahead of him. He just needs to keep going around for these points. He's a long way ahead of Foletto due to Foletto's pit stop, and a long way behind Abreu due to various incidents. Not that Abreu hasn't had various incidents, but he's got out of the way there nicely. Talking of Abreu, how's he doing catching the others? Well, he's still quite a way behind Steve Serpent here, but... and actually, oh no, he's gone off again! Abreu! Come on, get back on the circuit. Well, he's going to have to wait until he gets traction. There he goes. But Abreu is making making so many mistakes now. He will be kicking himself because he had a real shot at winning this race earlier on, and now he really doesn't, and he's again picking up scraps. This is a bad day for Nuno Miguel Abreu, and now Samuel Revada's off. I saw him dropping down the order, and I saw the yellows coming out in the first sector. And let's go back and see just what happened here. This is going to be a case of outbreak yourself, get on the grass, isn't it? Yeah. Most popular form of spinning today, it seems. Oh, my word. So nearly took out Steve Serpent. Let's see. Look at what the gap was there. Oh, and let's see what Steve Serpent saw of it. He would have been terrified as he went past. Watch the mirror. Duh! That is terrifying. Oh, Steve Serpent, you got away so lucky there. To still be running, as Revada almost swiped him, and still Abreu hasn't been able to catch him as he runs over the grass slightly, and over the grass slightly again, and the order after these 9 laps is Vidamari, Worth, Urbanati, Gill, Alves, Robinson, Serpent, Revada, Abreu, Blackmore, Foletto. Those are the cars that are still running. And then the 2 retirements are Davison and Graham. And we got yellows in Sector 2. Foletto's off again. Unfortunately, Foletto is another of these drivers who's been having a torrid time today. And let's see what's happened to him. He's just lost it over the crest, has he? That's an interesting one. Oh, well, it looks... maybe he doesn't know quite how much downforce he's lost by losing that front splitter. He shouldn't have lost too much, but anyway, there's a slight kink in that hill there, and he just sort of drove straight on. But whatever the case, Foletto's had another spin, which is a shame. And if they finish like this, I believe that it could be Thomas Wuck in the lead of the championship still. Well, it will be, because Vidamari would have gained 2 points on him, and he's 10 points behind. So the gap would have come down, but Worth would still be leading the championship going into this final race. And if he can win the championship without actually winning a race, that would be quite something. It would really show the consistency of Thomas Worth. He's a quick driver, but above everything else, he's very, very consistent. Here's Abreu on the back of Samuel Revada. This is his chance. He pulls out of the slipstream, and he's going to possibly get him on the inside here. Yeah, Revada backs out of it and lets Abreu go. That's sportsman-like from Revada. He knows that Abreu is fighting for a champion. He knows that Abreu is fighting for a championship and he himself isn't. But Abreu, unfortunately for him, is a long way down on his championship rivals now. He's actually got relatively close for 3rd position since last time I looked, as Gill appears to actually be catching Urbanati. Now that's not what we were expecting after seeing the practice times, because Urbanati was very, very quick. But Gill, who was also quick but not quite as quick, is actually catching him now. And I believe these top 3 are all bunching together as well, possibly dropping back slightly to Urbanati. So this could be a bad... Oh no! Oh dear! Another spin in the same way, in the same place, as Gill leaves his braking late, gets on the grass, spins the car around. Does he lose a position? Who's the car behind? It's Jorge Alves. And as he rounds the same sector, of course, he has a twitch, but Gill still ahead of him. And we can see how that looked from on board Bruno Gill. He was really going for that 3rd place, but gets on the grass on the entry, and then around it goes. There's no saving that. And unfortunately for Bruno Gill, that's going to cost him any chance of a podium for now, unless there's some sort of incident up ahead of him. Whew, well, that was a bit scary, wasn't it, from Bruno Gill? We've got yellows in the first sector. Has someone been off? Oh, it's Abreu! It's Nuno Miguel Abreu again! What? Oh no! Well, he's hit the wall hard, and it's again by his own fault. He's gone over the curb, lost control, and gone into the barrier. He's having a really bad time of it today. Revada's gone through. Abreu might have to pit again, or have to pit rather. Let's see what his steering's like. That looks wrong. That looks very wrong. Yeah, that's a damaged car by my money there. Well, he's got a long straight heading up now, so or coming up now. So let's see where he's holding his wheel. That's off centre, and the car seems to be very, very weirdly handling as he went. Well, very weirdly handling as he went onto that straight. But Abreu having a bad time. Blackmore's got damage. Where did this occur? He's had an off quite recently. Wasn't that? Oh, okay. Well, he'd had an off already, but then he just clipped the curb again, went into the barrier. Couldn't really see that very well, but yeah, there you see him just getting a swap on into the wall. And Blackmore again in trouble, and look at that damage on the steering. So that the bottom three got. Oh, as Blackmore runs off again, he's got very bad damage and might be retiring the car here. The bottom three drivers all missing their bonnets and bumpers. Well, their bumpers at least. Abreu missing his bonnet as well, going one better than the others. And has Blackmore got an engine? He has. He's driving back slowly to the pits now. Folletto has just driven slightly off. And Blackmore is going to take a pit stop. Yeah. He's just thinking about finishing this race now. Folletto's going to go through. He's still a lap behind, so he has still a lap to make up. And Blackmore is just thinking about finishing this race now. He knows that if he finishes, he'll get points. Now, if we look down the order again, we can see that the battle for sixth is getting closer as Serpent appears to be catching Robinson as we're pulling towards the closing stages of this race. And going rather quickly here is Steve Serpent. You can see his times down there. He's on course for his quickest lap of the race as he chases down Mark Robinson, but we'll see if he can make a move before long. Who's that in the pits? That was Blackmore, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a light blue car. It is still Blackmore in the pits there. He might actually be enough time ahead of Alessio Folletto to keep his position in 10th, but we'll see. Big slide for Serpent. Keeps control. Now, as we're on lap 13 of 14, this is the penultimate lap, and really not much chance left for Serpent to get past Mark Robinson for 6th position here. But up the front, Vidamari is doing all he needs to keep his championship fight alive. He claimed pole, and it looks as if he's going to win the race as well. And this is a great performance from Daniele Vidamari. Thomas Wach also doing a good job. He's going to maintain the lead of the championship as we go into the final race, which will be race 2 here. And when that happens, we will see just who will be crowned champion. There's Alves up the road. Alves is going to be the well, he's in 5th position at the moment here. Robinson and Serpent still close. Serpent will be getting a bit of slipstream from him, but not quite enough. We're on the last lap now. The leaders are on the last lap here. Vidamari ahead of Wach and Urbanati. They're on the final lap of this race, and we have yellows in the 3rd sector. Is that Alves? Yes, Alves has been off. I thought I saw a car off up the road, and I did. So Alves from 5th position. He'd been doing well. It's a shame to see. Yeah, he's just got over the curb and spun. We've seen that happening quite a few times, and did well to wait for the others before he came back onto the road. And now Vidamari is in sector 2. He's only got one sector after this one before he's going to cross the line to win this race, so long as there aren't any further incidents. And Robinson and Serpent still very, very close here. Serpent behind Robinson. They all make it through that corner. Okay, this time round, that's a really tricky one. Several people, like 4 or 5, have spun there in this race, including Nuno Miguel Abreu out of the lead of the race earlier on. Serpent might be going for the move here, but I'm going to quickly switch away from that to the head of the order so I don't miss anything, as Vidamari is in the final sector now. The final sector of the course. He's got one more corner to go, has Vidimari. Here it is. Out of it. And around the final corner goes Daniele Vidimari. He is going to claim the race victory and keep his championship hopes alive as he heads into race 2. Very good victory. Vidimari wins it ahead of Tomasz Włoch, who's going to come across the line in second position. There he is. Third is Tiziano Urbanati. Fourth is going to be Bruno Gil. Gil is going to be fourth. There's been a change for fifth. Oh, I think it's been an incident, actually. So Steve Serpent gets fifth, but where has Robinson gone? He's dropped a long way down the order. That's a shame to see. I think Robinson may have had a spin or something like that, and Steve Serpent's dropped further back to Alves from where he was as well. But Serpent is going to claim fifth position ahead of Alves. There goes Serpent across the line now for fifth. Alves is sixth. Robinson is going to claim seventh. It's a shame for him that he didn't get the position that he possibly should have done. But we'll see the incident. There's Revade. Oh, well, Abreu's had another incident. Gets it going again. What's happened here? It looks as if Abreu's he's just had another kick of oversteer and gone into the barrier. That car's handling badly now. It's probably got some bad damage. It's been battered and bruised. He's done a good job to bring it to the flag, but it's been an action-packed and accident-filled race for Nuno Miguel Abreu, and that is his championship over. He will not be champion. Lee Blackmore is going to be 10th, does finish ahead of Folletto despite the pit stop, because Folletto also had to make a pit stop. Folletto is now rounding his final corner and is going to cross the line, missing a piece of bodywork that he should have. And once all this is done, I'm going to go back and see what happened to Mark Robinson. So Folletto crosses the line now for 11th and careers off into the grass. Now, what happened to Robinson? Why did he finish 7th and not 5th? So, as you can see, he's running ahead of Serpent at this point. And fast forwarding to when Serpent might have tried to make his move. Oh, it looks as if Robinson did actually get significantly ahead of Serpent there. Then got over the grass. Lost control of the car. This is on the final lap, remember. And into the wall badly. Got up into the air. And I'm afraid that's all down to Robinson as he got over the grass on the crest. That's an easy mistake to make. And bang into the barrier. And this is the site of third place coming to Steve Serpent. Serpent also had an off hit, but not anywhere near as badly as Robinson did. He went into the wall hard, but luckily brought the car back to the finish. Anyway, great result from Daniele Vidimari, and we will now have a brief break before we go to race 2. Right, we're back, and apparently we've got an interesting development in the grid order, because apparently Blackmore, Serpent, Reveda, and Robinson are going to be starting at the back of the grid so as not to impede the championship leaders. So it appears that, well, because we often get a lot of sort of crunching and carnage at the start of race 2, when we have a reverse grid normally, there is going to sort of be a reverse grid today, but not really, because the leaders will still be starting at the front. I presume in a reversed order, so I presume that it's not going to be Vidamari at the front. It might actually... Oh, it's Folletto at the front. So Folletto is at the front, followed by Abreu. Now, Folletto actually did finish behind Blackmore, Serpent, Robinson and Reveda after the incidents. I think this is all due to pace, which is interesting to see. Also, another thing I'm not sure about is the fastest lap in race 1. I don't know who claimed that or how fast it was. That should definitely be something I check or have to find out, because that could be vital in terms of the championship. It depends how this race goes. I've just worked out that after race 1, it is still Tomasz Włoch leading the championship by 214 points, despite not winning a race yet, followed by Tiziano Urbanati on 211, so 3 points in it there, and then Daniele Vidamari with 206. Urbanati, if Urbanati finishes second and Włoch wins it, Urbanati does need to claim fastest lap as well, but if he does, he wins the championship. So if Włoch finishes 2 positions ahead of Urbanati, at the front of the field, that is, or if Włoch claims the fastest lap and they finish near the front of the field, then that means that Urbanati, well, that means that Włoch will be champion, unless Urbanati finishes 2 positions ahead of Włoch. That could change things. And Vidamari, of course. There are many things I'm not going to work out in this short space of time. But anyway, Folletto is going to start on pole, followed by Abreu in this very confusing grid. Alves, Gill, Urbanati, Włoch, Vidamari, Reveda, Robinson, Serpent, and Blackmore. And then Graham and Davison have not turned up for race 2. So we're on the formation lap. I'm just sorting the camera out there. Folletto is going to start on pole here, and this could be a very, very interesting race. What I think I would have done if I was deciding the grid order for this race, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the race steward's decision, because I think it is very, very thoughtful that they are trying to stop people from getting in the way of the championship leaders, is I would have done an entire reverse grid like normal, but I would have put the championship leaders in front. So for me, the first 3 in this order would have been Urbanati, Włoch, Vidamari, and then you get the rest of the field in a reversed order. But I can see entirely why they've done it, how they have done it, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So Folletto is going to be on pole position here in the number 23 RSI Capesec, or Capiche, or however you say it, car. I will have to say that's Chepesek, however it is. They are the team that's fielding Alessio Folletto, as Folletto now parks it on the grid, and we're going to go on board with him now. We're just waiting for the last few guys to make it to the grid. Blackmore's dropped a long way behind, as has Serpent. I wonder whether there's been a couple of formation lap spins here, but whatever the case, Blackmore making his way to the grid now, slowing so he doesn't ram everyone, and when he gets into position, we can wait for the lights to come on. There he goes. Now, the leaders won't have liked this, because it means their tyres will have been going cold, but here come the lights. When they go out, we're underway. Now, off we go. It's a slow start for Folletto. He barely even got going, and Abreu gets another stormer, but Gill as well gets a stormer. Folletto's going to have to go very defensive on the inside. Abreu gets the lead. Watch Urbanati. He went through to the start of his contact. And Urbanati's been dreadfully held up. There's a big collision in the mid-pack. Who's been... Oh, Vidamari! Vidamari is also... Oh, all three of the championship contenders have been involved in an accident at turn 1. Ravader is also off, but Wok, Vidamari and Urbanati have all dropped to the back of the order. This is ridiculous. This is so exciting. I've never seen anything like that before. They were put to the front of the order for precisely the reason of that not happening. But it's happened. And what a thrilling turnout we have just seen. Abreu leads it from Gill, Serpent, Folletto, Blackmore, Alves, Urbanati. Urbanati came off best from that and is on target, I think, possibly to win the championship. Robinson is 8th. Wach is 9th. 10th is Vidamari. 11th is Raveda. What a start we have just witnessed. And I think it was all triggered by Urbanati going for a move up the inside of... Oh, what's happened here? There's a couple of cars moving sideways. And Urbanati's going to try to make up a few positions. He's alongside Jorge Alves here. I think that was all triggered by Urbanati trying to force his way up the inside of Alessio Folletto into turn 1. And I think that they all came to blows there, and Work and Raveda just got caught up in that. But I can't believe that all the drivers, the 3 championship contenders, all had to be involved. That was so dramatic. And Urbanati is on his way now. As Blackmore runs slightly off, and Urbanati might well get this. He does. So Urbanati moves up a place. Alves moves up a place. And after lap 1, it's Abreu leading from Gill, Serpent, Urbanati and Alves. Those are the top 5. Now, look at Wok having a move on Blackmore. He's up the inside now. Locks up slightly, but gets past him. That is for 6th position. Vidamari also trying to get past Blackmore. I can't imagine Blackmore's going to be holding them up, or trying to hold them up, but he's making them fight for it, and quite rightly too. They are still racing, remember, even though Vidamari is fighting for the championship and Blackmore isn't. They are still fighting. Oh, for the championship, Blackmore's gone around, and Vidamari will be happy, but Blackmore maybe not so much. He drops to 10th position now behind Samuel Raveda, who also goes through there. Now, who else is running well? The gap for the lead is actually 2 seconds, though, and Serpent is 8 seconds behind. So the leaders have really opened out a gap on this opening lap here with all of the various incidents. As Alves runs slightly off, and now let's watch Thomas Wach as he goes on the attack, and Vidamari is just right behind him. You see the 3 championship contenders in the same shot here. And what can Vidamari do about Wach on this straight? What can Wach do about Alves on this straight? The Budweiser sponsored Wach car in the slipstream of Alves, hoping to get back up to Urbanati. He's going for him up the inside. This is up towards the blind chicane. Alves is going to have the inside line for the corner that matters here. And actually, he's pried the gap open slightly, and I was wondering whether Vidamari was going to have a slight look there, but he was too far back. And Wach not able to capitalise on that just yet. The gap for the lead, incidentally, came out by almost a second on that lap. So Abreu, trying to make the most of a bad race 1. Still going for 3rd in the championship, remember. Here goes Wach up the inside of Alves. Gets it. Whoa, big slide from Wach. Is he going to get onto the grass? No, he does keep that. How did he keep that? And Vidamari is going for Alves as well. Whew, that was close. Anyway, replay time. Let's see what happened to Wach there. He got so squirrely on the braking. Ooh, I would have lost it. I honestly would have lost that. But he still keeps it. Now, what happened at the start is the interesting thing here, because it really did cost the leaders quite a bit. I believe it was all triggered by Urbanati. So let's see if it was fair or foul. Yeah, that was too far back. Urbanati goes into Folletto. Right, now let's break this down. So Folletto goes sideways. Alves gets tagged. He goes into Wach. Wach spins. And then as Alves is going sideways, Vidamari gets tagged and he gets spun. What happens to Raveda? It was Vidamari spinning back into Raveda that spun him. And all 3 of the title contenders were involved in that. And I think that was entirely Urbanati's fault. And if I was the race steward there, I'd give him a penalty. But I'm not the race steward, luckily for him. So we'll see what comes of that. I don't really know how strict the race directors are. We'll have to see after the race. It might be that the championship isn't decided until after the race, but hopefully that isn't the case. Urbanati, Work and Vidamari are now running together on track. And this is interesting. No! Vidamari's lost. He's in the wall. Oh my word. And that's Vidamari out of the championship, surely. That is going to be devastating for him. After winning race 1 and getting pole and doing all that work, Vidamari gets over the curb. There he goes. There was a slight touch of the curb. Gets a big swap on. Into the barrier he goes. That's going to be a heavily damaged car. And he's in the pits. Oh no, that's Vidamari's chance is over. Vidamari pits, and unless something dramatic happens to his title rivals, maybe even then, he is out of this championship. And that's dreadful for Daniele Vidamari, who did so well. Now, it's between Wach and Urbanati for the lead of this championship. And it is anyone's game here. Urbanati running ahead of Wach. And I believe, well, I'm going to check quickly how many points he scored for those positions. So, 4th is 14 points, 5th is 12. So if they finished like this, then Wach would win the championship by 1 point. But that 1 point could go to the fastest lap, or will go to the fastest lap. So that could go to Tiziano Urbanati. But it's the fastest lap of the 2 races combined, remember. So we won't know who has the fastest lap until after this race. And that means if they finished like this, we wouldn't know who the champion would be. Now that is really, really dramatic, and we need to keep an eye on Urbanati, because if Urbanati gets past anyone here, he will be in championship winning position. And what a dramatic race this has been so far. Now, Thomas Wach will be praying to see Steve Serpent not to make an error here, because if Serpent drops behind Urbanati and Urbanati finishes 2 places ahead of Wach, Urbanati is champion no matter whether Wach scores fastest lap or not. Bit of a slide there for Urbanati, but everyone's been doing it. That's called a 4-wheel drift around there. All is fine. There's still someone in the pits there. I think that's still Vidamari, unfortunately. Has he DNF'd? I think he's still in the race, but he's taking a lengthy pit stop. All he needs to do is finish this race now and get the points for the finish. I think he can still finish ahead of Nino Miguel in the championship if he does finish this race. And now it's all down to whether anyone ahead of Urbanati makes a mistake, or if Urbanati can catch Serpent. He knows the importance of doing this. At this rate, it would be Wach who would win the championship unless Urbanati has the first lap. I'm going to go through quickly and see who does have the first lap so far. It is Abreu. Now, I don't know who had the fastest lap in race 1. I really should have checked. In fact, I'm going to go back on the stream now and check who had the fastest lap in race in race 1, because this is vital for the championship. Might take me a little while to figure out, but I'll see. Just looking back to the final lap of the last race to see who did have the fastest lap. It wasn't Vidamari. Or was it? I need to wait until they've crossed the line, don't I? Nope, wasn't Vidamari. What about Urbanati? Yes, I think it was Urbanati. No. Was it Bruno Gil? I think it was Bruno Gil. Yes, it was. So Bruno Gil set the fastest lap of race 1. Now that means that, well, it's all down to what the drivers can do in this race to do with the fastest lap as to... Well, I believe that Abreu's lap is quicker, so that means that whoever sets the fastest lap in this race gets that extra point. We expected that the first lap of race 2 would be quicker than the first lap of race 1. It usually is, due to the drivers being more experienced on the, in the race there, and the track being more rubbered in at this point. And Urbanati's gap is coming down on Serpent. It is just 1.4 seconds apart now. Whew, what a race we're seeing. Alves, Folletto and Robinson are close on track for 6th. These three, it could go any of their ways here. And they need to make sure they don't make any big mistakes, of course. Folletto got slightly over the grass there. but only slightly. It's all fine so far. As we're going through the final sector of the course, I'm trying to keep an eye on the battle for thirds coming down again. Urbanati is really catching Serpent. He'll be properly in his slipstream now as we head down the straight. Although not close enough, not really close enough yet to get a really good slipstream. He'll be getting a bit of it. There's the blind chicane downhill. And what a championship decider we've been witnessing so far. I need to keep an eye on all sorts of different things here, including the fastest lap as well. Who's been off? Blackmore has. So Blackmore had an off in the second sector. I saw the yellows. Now he's just been caught out by that crest, hasn't he? Several people have. And he's spun it into the wall maybe? No, doesn't quite reach the barrier luckily. And oh, he's gone off again. This is a different incident here. He's just sort of... Oh, he's just got that all wrong, hasn't he? In many different ways. And around he goes. He's down in 10th position now. Penultimate position ahead of Vidamari, who's still running here. Urbanati may have made a slight mistake at the hairpin, actually, because he appeared on that straight to be over half a second down. Who's off in the third sector? Raveda. So Raveda's had an off at the final corner. It looks as if he's just taken that too quickly and got over the grass. Several people having problems at the back, but it's all about finishing this race because, of course, everyone who finishes a race in this series scores a point. It's the top 15 who score points, and, of course, the top... there's only 11 drivers in the race, so if you finish, you score. Alves, Folletto and Robinson still close for 6th. Big jump from Folletto as we went over that crest there. And now Robinson gets up his inside, forces his way through. That's a good move from Robinson up into 7th position. Robinson gets ahead of Folletto. The gap for 3rd is, again, 1.3. So Serpent doing a very good job to keep ahead of Urbanati and keep the gap steady. I believe that Urbanati made a mistake on the last lap, but Urbanati needs to get past Serpent here to win the championship. That battle there is for the championship, making it very important and very dramatic. Still not quite close enough for anything to change yet, unless Serpent makes a big error. This battle is properly close. We've got 3 people going for it. Yellows. And it's Blackmore. Looks like the same place. Is that the crest? Yeah, he's been off over the crest again. That's 2 laps consecutively. Oh, that's an interesting one. He's had a big slide on the inside. Oh, over the curb. Yeah, we haven't seen that one yet. And off he goes and tries to correct it. Almost does and just loses control. Lets it go. Doesn't want to ruin the tyres by going for many, many saves. And he's had another off. That's at the hairpin. It appears that his spins always seem to come in 2, don't they? I'll point that out to him after this race. But Blackmore always seems to have 2 spins in a lap if he ever spins. So anyway, that's how it's been happening so far. And someone's off in the first sector now, and it's Folletto. So what's happened to Folletto? Oh, he's been into the wall here. He's got over the curb while fighting with Blackmore, touched the barrier, and then just bounced along it. Oh, that's a big hit. It looked as if he was going to get away with it because his first 2 hits were just glancing blows. There's one on the rear, one on the front, but then he hit just where the wall came out. Actually, it's not so big when you look at it from on board. Vidamari almost got caught up in it. Remember that Vidamari is still technically in contention for the title if everyone else has it. Ah! Gill's off! Urbanati and Walker both through! Well, if Gill had come out between Urbanati and Walker, it would have been extra dramatic. Now it's not really so dramatic because still the championship situation stayed the same. But Gill was running in 2nd place, and that's dramatic for the race because if something had happened to if something had happened to Abreu rather, then Gill would have taken the lead of the race, and Gill just had an overcorrection, doesn't make it to the wall, just has an overcorrection going through the downhill chicane there. And that puts Steve Serpent up into 2nd place now. And still we've got yellows in the first sector. It's Blackmore again. Oh dear. That's his 5th spin so far that we've seen in this race. Now his tyres will be absolutely shot by this point from travelling sideways so much into the wall he's been. Oh, and he's off again. Is that just getting way? Oh yeah, that's just giving way for the leaders. Never mind. That's not a spin. But Blackmore having a bit of a tough time. Vida Murray's back into the pits. He's having a terrible time. And now the order after that shuffle is Abreu, Serpent, Urbanati. Look how close Serpent and Urbanati is. This is for the championship, providing Serpent doesn't lose another place to walk behind him. If Urbanati gets past Serpent and Serpent finishes between Urbanati and Walk, Urbanati wins the championship. If Urbanati and Walk stay behind Serpent and Urbanati does not claim the fastest lap, Walk wins the championship. If they both get past Serpent and Urbanati claims the fastest lap, Urbanati wins the championship. But if he doesn't claim fastest lap, of course, then Walk wins it. It's all about the fastest lap in this race. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying, because if Urbanati claimed the fastest lap now, he'd win the championship. That's what I meant. So if Urbanati and Work are separated by one position, and Urbanati scores fastest lap, Urbanati's the champion. But if he doesn't score fastest lap, which he hasn't got at the moment, then Work is champion. But I believe we're well past the stage of fastest laps in this race. As you can see, the times have really dropped off now as the drivers are forced to conserve tyre wear. So I think that we've seen the fastest lap in the race already, and it's coming from Nuno Miguel Abreu. So that means that if there is going to be, as there's been an off in the first sector again. Oh, it's Bruno Gil again. Oh no, he was running well. Oh, he's been off into the wall. Oh, he's just tagged the grass, and he's been into the barrier. There you see him tagging the grass. Round he goes. Of course, he was running in 5th position. Noses into the wall and loses his bumper. He's still in 5th, interestingly, ahead of Robinson, but without a front bumper. And this is the battle that matters still. Serpent versus Urbanati. It all comes down to this, as Urbanati's not going to claim the fastest lap in the race unless something dramatic happens. It is all down to this. It's all down to whether Serpent loses that play. Abreu's off! Abreu! He was leading the race. He's in the wall. Does anyone get through? He's back on the circuit. He's still leading. How is he still leading? He's been into the barrier. In fact, he's lost a bit of bodywork. And is that vital piece? He's got over the curb and lost it. He would have felt his heart sinking at that point. Now, what piece is that? It's the boot. It's the boot. The boot lid has, of course, is at the rear. As this is, well, whatever that is. No, it's a piece of bodywork panel. Of course, the boot would be at the front here. But anyway, Abreu has been into the barrier. Is still, and Abreu, Urbanati rather, has gone ahead of Serpent. I know I've been doing a lot of intakes of breath in this race, but it's really been worth it. How has Urbanati done this? It's just been a case of Serpent's made a mistake. Now this could be the championship winning move. It all depends on whether Work can get past Serpent. There goes Urbanati. There it is on replay. And this is how it looked to him. Serpent gets a bad exit to the corner. Urbanati goes through and takes the lead of the race and the championship. Now, what about Work? Can Work get past Serpent? If Work gets past Serpent, then it's all for nothing. But of course, then we have Abreu's damage to contend with. Is it costing him? He doesn't appear to have suspension damage, which is good to see, but this is so dramatic. What a championship decider we are seeing here. It's all about this driver here, Steve Serpent, and that one, Thomas Work. And that one, Tiziano Urbanati. As now, Robinson's been off. Oh dear. So, Robinson's had an off. Oh, he's had a collision with Bruno Gil. It looks as if he's just tagged Gil, with Alves rather. He's just tagged Alves as they're heading round the King, and they've both been off. Both had a spin. There you see it from on board Robinson, I'm afraid. Well, I don't know why Alves was moving that slowly, but still, it's the responsibility of the driver behind to make a clean move. And Alves, I'm afraid, came off the worst of that. That would have completely bitten his tyre, seeing as he had that spin on the grass rather than on the track. And we only have 2 laps after this one for Worth to make his move. Serpent's doing a brilliant job of this, to keep it in 3rd position. He's really, really keeping with the top of the top of the order and keeping with the top guys here. And still, it's Abreu leading from Urbanati, Serpent, Worth and Gil. And if they finished like that, like this, Urbanati would be the champion by 1 point. That's all it would be. And Worth would be second despite... Well, Urbanati would win the championship despite only having 1 race win this year. And Worth would be second despite having none. The top winner of this year has been Nuno Miguel Abreu, who, if he adds this win to his tally, would have won 7 victories. And yet he's going to lose to someone with 1 fewer race than him, simply because he missed Watkins Glen and the first round of the first race of Sebring as well. If Abreu had won every round, or had finished every round, had made it to every round, then I have no doubt he would have been champion, but he hasn't. So it's all about consistency here, and the consistency winners, Urbanati and Worth, are going to lead this championship to its end. Vidimari, the other driver, still technically in with a mathematical chance of the championship if pigs fly, has got 1 win. Of course, he won that at Mid-Ohio last time out. Is Vidimari still running in this race? Yes, he is. Of course, Vidimari needs to finish ahead of all of these guys if he's going to win the championship. And with him being several laps down, I'm afraid that's not going to happen for him. We're on the penultimate lap of the race now, and Serpent and Worth are very, very close. This is for the championship. This move that Worth might be about to make is the championship winning move. If Worth pulls it, he's champion. If he doesn't pull it, then Urbanati is champion. I can't believe it has all come down to this. What a championship finale we are witnessing now. Serpent puts 2 wheels over the grass. Who is off in the first sector? It's Alves. So Alves off from 7th. And it's the same place that he's been off before in exactly the same way. You need to learn from your mistakes, but Alves has touched the grass and been around. Didn't make it to the wall this time. Now, what about the top guys? What order are they in? Still in the same order. As we're going to head towards the final lap of the race. It's going to be a championship decider. Come right down to the final lap of the race. It's going to be decided now. As we head on to the final lap. 1 lap left for Worth to win or lose this championship. This is going to be the most intense lap in CFEG history. Starting now. Abreu starts it. Watch Worth. He doesn't go for a dive here. He doesn't dare. Not close enough as we head through the double or triple apex right-hander of turn 1. If Serpent makes a mistake, of course, it's all over anyway. There's the left-hander. And another one. And still, it's Serpent ahead of Worth. Still lapping cleanly. Still doing very, very well to hold on to this position. I can't believe it. Serpent is racing like he's fighting for the championship. And I tell you what, if he holds on to this, he will be Urbanati's best friend for the rest of history. What? He's going for it. He touches the grass. That was never going to be an overtaking opportunity. It was not on the... it was not under the brakes or anything like that. I believe Lee Blackmore's had enough. Oh no! What's hit him? What has missed his braking point? And he's gone straight into Steve Serpent. That's dreadful. Bad move from Thomas Worth. He's kept it going. But he can't win the championship like that, surely. He has rammed Steve Serpent out of the way to get through into championship winning position. That's not how you do it. And Steve Serpent has been sent skittering off into the barrier. And I hope... Oh, well, he's lost a position, obviously. I hope he can still finish 4th from that. He's damaged. He's badly damaged. And Work is going to provisionally win the championship, but I hope he gets a penalty for that, because that is not on. Abreu wins it after being into the wall. Oh, my word, Abreu deserved that after race 1. Urbanati crosses the line in 2nd. Tomasz Work is waiting. He's waiting for Serpent. This is great sportsmanship from Tomasz Work. Watch this. Now he's in championship winning position. Now he's in championship winning position. No, he isn't! Tiziano Urbanati wins the championship as Serpent passes Work. My word, it came down to the final straight. My voice cannot handle that. And Tiziano Urbanati is our champion at the last moment. I can't believe that. What a race we just witnessed. Bruno Gil is 5th. Mark Robinson is 6th. Jorge Alves is going to cross the line in 7th. I've gone so lightheaded, I think I'm going to faint. Alves 7th, there he goes. Samuel Roveda, why do I keep calling him Stefan, is going to come across the line in 8th position. Oh, what a lap. There he goes. I told you that would be the most intense lap you've ever seen in CFEG. That might have been the most intense lap you've ever seen in sim racing. Alessio Folletto crosses the line 9th. Daniele Vidimari has already finished and been into the wall. Vidimari was our other championship contender in this race, but he unfortunately lost out after an incident at the start. Lee Blackmore is 11th. Good that he could finish it, but our champion, by 1 point, is Tiziano Urbanati. What an amazing race! Stay with us for the the interviews. I apologise if I stop briefly. I'm having to speak in short bursts so I don't pass out. But I've never seen anything like that before. I'm going to take a brief break while I get people into the waiting room for the interviews. Well, we hope you enjoyed that race. We've still got the interviews to come, and I hope we get the championship contenders there. What an amazing thing we just witnessed. Well, I really, really hope that that everyone has still got energy to speak after that, because I almost haven't. I see that we've got Matthew Sanderson watching in the Discord chat there. I'm sure you know a thing or two about not being able to speak after something as amazing as that. But what an unbelievable race we just witnessed. That was just, you didn't know who was going to be champion. It came down to the final straight. It effectively didn't, but still, shush. Yeah, wrong thing. Oh dear. Well, what's happened there is I've accidentally moved myself out of the commentary channel and into the waiting room, but everyone can still hear me here, so I'm going to do the interviews from here. So, first in was Nuno Miguel Abreu. So, Nuno, before we talk about that amazing race 2, race 1 for you was a bit of a disappointment, you must say.
Race 1 was not a disappointment, it was a disaster, because I was leading and lost my focus and spun, and then I was trying hard to get in the front again, and it was a race with everything bad that can happen. It happened to me by my fault only, so it was a little bit tough. Race 2, it was nice. I just had a good start, and then leading the field after T1 was I was pushing hard to do the better race lap to gain an extra point, and I did it and just slowed down, uh, just keeping the car to the line, but still I managed to hit the wall at almost the middle of the race.
So, what are you more disappointed about losing then? The first race or the championship? Or did you not think that the championship was really on the cards anyway?
Well, I'm usually one of the most positive persons, and I will always think if there's a match possibility, then I can do it. But of course, I was not fighting for the championship. I was just looking for the team's championship, and I don't know how we finished, but it was a good final round.
Well, of course, you've already talked a bit about race 2 and that incident that we saw. But of course, you kept it going and kept it going to the end. Of course, I must say you got a really good start in both races. Have you been practicing your start? Have you just got the hang of that in particular?
Now, there's a thing I have to say, because it looks like nobody tested it before. When I tried the mod, I just tested the start, and if you turn auto clutch off, your car just flies off. And as you could see in the broadcast, the other cars are like, and mine just goes.
Okay, that's interesting. Of course, I bet that made the spins a bit hairier though. Did you think that? Did you think at any point in, well, when you went off in race 2, for example, did you think that you were about to lose the race?
In race 2, no, because I had a good lead, and I was just trying to put the car on track again, and still had a few seconds for the guys behind. But in race 1, after I went out of the track for the first time, I already knew that I couldn't win that.
Well, an amazing end to the championship with that dominant win in race 2. Not the way we wanted race 1 to go for you, but anyway, good to hear about that. Mike Robinson, we also have you here.
Hi, Josh.
Hello. So I can imagine that today we didn't really talk about you so much because you were a bit out of the limelight, what with everything else going on. I saw a decent battle in race 2. Talk us through what was going on from your point of view.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the drivers for taking part in the series. It's been a fantastic series. For it to go down to the last round, the last race was an incredible thing for everybody, and very exciting. My race, I really just wanted to stay out of the way of everybody. First race was actually quite good. I had a very steady start. My car, my setup, I think the tyres took at least 2 laps before they got anywhere near warm up, and but then I started pushing and I started making my way through the grid, and I was doing quite well. I think I was fourth or fifth at one point, and then I was being pressured by Steve Serpent from behind on the last lap, and I just buckled under the pressure and ended up, I think, finishing seventh. But yeah, and the second race, yeah, it was okay. Jorge and I were having a good little battle here and there, and I got really close to him once and gave him a little tap, and we both went off, and I apologise for that, but I let him past again, and yeah, and he span off in front of me a couple of laps later, so I managed to take the position again. But it was really, really good fun racing, really good series, and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Absolutely, it was, and this race in particular, just thrilling for everyone.
I can't wait to watch it.
Everyone involved. Oh, you've got to. It was decided on the final straight. The championship was decided on the final straight.
It was Tiziano, I think, that won it in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, by 1 point. So Tiziano Urbanati wins the championship by 1 point after all of that. Lord. And that
incredible.
Is the end of our...
Seriously?
Yeah, 1 point. And that's the end of our
nice,
broadcast now. So we will see you in the next round. Thanks for watching this one. I just realised I forgot to switch the camera to the one I should have done. It should have been that. But anyway, that's the end of this broadcast. Anyway, do you know? Actually, Mark, you're involved in the organising of this series, aren't you? Do you know when the next series is going to be starting, and if you can sort of give us a bit of an indication as to what that might be?
Not at this stage, Joshua. No, we're still in the planning stages at the moment.
Makes sense.
But yeah, yeah. Oh, keep your eyes open. I'm sure there'll be something just as interesting coming along.
Spoil sport. I'm joking. Anyway, so whatever it's going to be, we'll hopefully see you then. I really hope it's going to be as exciting as this, because I've been so impressed by the Porsche Flat Sixes. Even though I didn't make the entire series, what I saw was absolutely thrilling. On the topic of the Teams Championship, I don't actually know who won. I think it might have been RSI Capeseke, but I don't know how many points that was from Marabia, or whether Marabia just pipped them. So, well, I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, we'll have to find that out after the championship. I'm sure you can find it on the CFEG website. I've rabbited on for long enough. See you next time.
Hey, see you next time, guys. Cheers.
Yeah,